gentlemen, welcome to the player ratings of AskDonny YouTube channel. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Don, back again after a week of being absent. It was a little bit under the weather, so I didn't want to make any videos. You know, Gave me time to think about what I wanted to do, and I told you guys one of the things that I wanted to do before we get into the draft videos is I wanted to give player ratings, man. We got to give player ratings for all the players that we had this year. Um, it's really something to behold, to be able to do this now. 2 years together watching this channel, watching players grow. Also, that's something that's natural if you watch the Knicks as much as we do. So the first player that I picked, of course, was R.J. Barrett because who better to do the first video on than him? And I found this post from postingandtoasting.com. It's by Lee Escobedo, and I agree with a lot of the points that Lee basically talked about. When you look at R.J. Barrett, um, the beginning of the season, this past season for us because our season is over, he struggled. He struggled to find his way. RJ struggled to find his form. It was difficult with the emergence of Kemba Walker. Evan Fournier. It just didn't make it easy for RJ to fit into the team and play a style that would be conducive with the team being successful. Along with Tom Thibodeau just constantly messing up these rotations for him, not really giving RJ a solid footing in the team. And I think that ultimately hurt RJ early in the season. It was never clear what type of role he was going to play. So in the beginning, I remember RJ just trying to do whatever, and mostly RJ would try to do anything possible to have an impact on the team. So if the drive wasn't going, then maybe he goes for the three. If the three wasn't going, then maybe he goes for, which is a good mentality to have. But the problem is that it didn't allow him to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? If we go down here, Mr. Lee talks about average 20 points per game, which is, hey man, I've always said that if you average 20 per game, you are at least a star player in the NBA. From 20 points and up, you're a star player. 17, you're a great role player. 20, you're a star player. He's a star player in the Knicks. I don't know if he's gonna be All-Star yet, but he's definitely a star player. It's something to be said. I think he's in year 3. And I know this is Brennan's favorite player. For RJ to be in year 3 and already average 20 points per game at 21 years old, it's an amazing feat. But a lot of the 20 points per game, as far as him averaging that numbers, comes from his ability this year to shoot the three ball. Shooting the three ball is something that RJ Barrett has developed, and it has put him into a position to be lethal from three. You know what I'm saying? This is now something that RJ Barrett, I'm telling you, out of 10 shots, I give him at least six. Six. I really would. I don't know what the real percentage is. Maybe we can look that up quick. You know what I'm saying? But RJ Barrett really, he came a long way from what he was before. You know what I'm saying? He came a long way to what he was before, and I think it has to do with RJ Barrett's work ethic. You know what I'm saying? 34% from three. That is absolutely that is amazing considering, how he started. And it goes to show you that with hard work and having a mentality of wanting to improve, you can go so far. Unlike some other guys on the team, who I will get to in later videos. So let's move on. 5.8 points per game and 3 assists per game, which is not bad. 40.8% from the field, which I think you can see that here also. Yep, 40.8% from the field. Yep, you know what I'm saying? It was tough. So I think one of the keys that I touched on for RJ, what he did great was his 3-point shooting. Along with just becoming a leader, becoming somebody you could rely upon. Driving to the basket. It was huge this year. RJ Barrett being able to drive to the basket, that is something as a slasher that we consider him to be That is such an important skill to have. Being able to drive to the basket, forcing your way there, to get the foul. You know what I'm saying? Now, when he did get the fouls, immediately one thing he does need to work on is his free throw shooting. He does. He needs to work on it. He probably could have averaged 25 if those were hitting on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? But it's something that can be worked on easily. So I'm not saying that it's something that, it should worry you going forward. But for this year, I thought it was something that, he needed to be better at. His free throw shooting just wasn't there where he needed it to. And unfortunately, his mid range shooting is still not there. You know, it's good that the three balls falling, but I think if he can develop some type of move in the mid range, he'd be unbelievable. I'm telling you, and I think there will be something there at some point. I don't know how or when he's gonna develop it, but I do believe that RJ eventually will have something like that in his arsenal. I'm talking about the mid range. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the mid range that allows you to stay in the game if the three ball is not falling. It's a very important thing. You can't ignore the mid range. The mid range is always going to keep you in the game. Ask guys like Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? Always hitting the mid range, just keeping you in the game and really helping your team win in the end. Because if the three is not falling, sometimes the momentum shifts. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of momentum, there were a lot of times where I felt like RJ Barrett had to do so much to try and stay into the game. You know, having to fight Coach Tibbs basically on rotations, having to fight alongside Randall, who really did not help him in many aspects this year, as far as not only being a leader, but just somebody to take the load of sometimes. There were many games where I thought that Julius just disappeared on RJ, leaving RJ to try and do sometimes a little bit too much, and sometimes, you know, sometimes just doing too much to a point where it was obvious that on a given night that it probably wasn't his night, but he had to because there was nobody really backing him, and that sometimes it affected his performance in some nights. When you have a guy like RJ who's finding his way, and there really wasn't a second guy on many nights that he could really rely upon. Even though Quickly and Obi later on in the year it really came on, they came on together. Fournier had his game sometimes for three, but it wasn't really something consistent except for the stuff from the youth later in the year. You know what I'm saying? That's really something for RJ that I really think at this point. I think that RJ is going to be the focal point of the team. I think whatever happens with the team trade wise, RJ Barrett is going to be a cornerstone that's going to stay here. I give RJ Barrett an A for the year. Considering from where he came from to what he ended up with, you got to give him an A. Improvements to be made, I would say, your free throw shooting and your mid range, but your best attributes now are your 3 point shooting and your ability to get to the hoop. Now for RJ to continue to work on the ones that I just mentioned, it's probably gonna put him into the star category if not already, and eventually maybe become an all star. I think that now is something to consider. Now, of course, him becoming an all star will depend on how Tom Thibodeau is rotating the squad, and I'm not even convinced that Tom Thibodeau is really gonna be here long term. But they're just trying to give it some stability now. I'm telling you, RJ Barrett has all the tools to be one of the best players in this league. He just needs a good, some consistent supporting cast, and he needs to work on those free throws and get that mid ranger in there, man. Because after that, you're golden. Let me know what you think of the analysis. I got many more next. I think Randall's up next, and then we kind of gonna make our way down the line, man. It's your boy Donnie. Let me know what you thought of the season overall for RJ Barrett. What rating would you give him? I give RJ Barrett an A. What else could you really give him? Did I miss something that you guys thought that I should have talked about? Let me know in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, enjoy these videos. And it's your boy Don. I'll see y'all next time, man. Peace. I'm out.